So, welcome all to our today's AMA session about Windows Autopilot. And we are more than happy to have all our experts in one round, the full capacity, what we have around the topic Autopilot. And with this, I will hand over to Niklas, who will talk about our today's agenda.
Yeah, hi everyone. What a great set of speakers for today, and also an epic topic. Yannick and I will be the host for today, so we will get the questions in and also fill it into our slide deck. So feel free to leave everything you want to know about Autopilot and device preparation in the comments in LinkedIn, and then we will insert them later. So feel free to ask anything here. And yeah, we will start with a short introduction round. And then we will have Ellie to talk about device preparation from Microsoft sides. And then we're ready to go with our questions. So Maggie, can you start to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Maggie Dakiva. I'm a product manager on the Windows Autopilot team. I have been involved with some portions of Autopilot device preparation, including troubleshooting pieces. And I also drive a company portal and some of the other end-user experiences we have on Windows. And Juanita, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Juanita Baptiste. I am also a PM on the Windows Autopilot team, working with Maggie and Aylin.
Nice. Hey, everyone. My name is Aylin Ocholi, for those who have never met me before. I am the PM manager for the Windows onboarding area and end user experiences and all that stuff that Maggie had mentioned. So working with both Maggie and Juanita on Autopilot enrollment and everything around getting Windows devices into Intune for management. So yeah, really excited to be here. So thanks for having us here, guys.
Sure. Rudy, you next, please.
Of course. Well, I'm Rudy Holmes. For the fourth time, I'm becoming an MVP. Currently working for Patch My PC, and yeah, I have a weird hobby looking at DLLs, and especially the DLLs that corresponds to Autopilot and device preparation. So yeah, that's me. So Matthias.
Hey everybody. So I'm Matthias Melkersen. I live in Denmark, and I am working on the 20th year as consultant, working with Autopilot. Been working a lot with config manager, so you can't try to compare those two. That's how it is. We have to live with that. Sorry, Autopilot team. But yeah, I look forward to this. Niklas.
Yeah, so I guess I'm Niklas number 2 then.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Niklas, third year as an Intune MVP. I'm really happy to be a Windows MVP this year as well. And I work as a consultant here in Sweden with endpoint management, and we have a strong focus on productivity and security to kind of join those two together. And I would also like to throw a third one into the mix, and that's admin experience as well, because without a great admin experience, it's going to be hard to achieve the other two. So yeah, well, really nice to be here. So I'll throw it over to, well, I'm the last, aren't I?
Yeah, you're the last one.
Okay, yeah, great.
You're the last one.
Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourself. As you see, we have a really great set of speakers here. MVPs, people from Microsoft, and also from around the globe. Yannick is from Germany, I'm from Switzerland, and I think from Microsoft, everyone is from America, right?
I'm in the UK, actually, so sitting in London. Yeah.
Okay. So even more broad. Okay, so then Ellie, it's your turn with a little introduction from the product side. The stage is yours.
Nice. Awesome. So yes, this would be a kind of short and sweet, so we can really get into the questions that you have for us. But yes, Windows Autopilot device preparation. This has been years in the making, and we're really excited to have everyone try it out and really, continue the evolution that is Autopilot. So as we're talking about this session, Niklas reached out and had a great suggestion just to kind of walk people through why did we get here? How did we get to this Windows Autopilot device preparation at a high level? and then we can dive into a bit more after that. So one of the big things that kept coming up to the team with the Windows Autopilot that was in market at the time was there was no solution for our core government cloud customers at the time. And so we had to really dive deep and, if you will, open up the engine of the car to really figure out, okay, what's the right way to ensure that we can provide the Windows Autopilot experiences for that demographic of customers who are paying for our services. And so once we had it open, we realized that there's a lot of feedback that we've had through the years from you, from our community, from so many of our customers. I thought this would be the best opportunity to dive in and see what we can fix, throughout this entire engine, and to just set us up for the next, how many, 5, 10, 20 years of managing devices, especially as we also were really driving towards helping you customers get to cloud native. And that whole cloud native push, you hear it from Microsoft over and over. Now is the time. I want to do whatever we can to get you there. So while we were in there were just certain pieces of feedback that came to mind. And, just want to take a pause to really, give kudos to Juanita and our team, who has been in this space for a lot longer. She's worked with you guys for so much, but, just building on all that great investigation that she did, Maggie and I kind of dove in as well. And there were just these 4 big pillars of feedback that we saw. Firstly, simplicity. So we heard this from quite a few customers. Getting started with Autopilot is hard. I don't have enough time to learn that new skill. For many organizations, folks in IT are being asked to do more without necessarily more resources or more time and so on. And so we really wanted to take another stab in getting the setup and getting everything working as smooth as possible, so it just gets out of the way so you can do more with your time. Consistency and reliability. Every deployment feels a little bit different, a different experience. One of the examples that I heard quite a few times was, I've set everything up, I've tested in my environment, it should be good. We line up 10 different devices, and somehow 3 or 4 devices fail, and I don't know why. And it's a black box. But just being able to be more confident in the consistency and reliability of these deployments was one of the big things for us. And that black box aspect of, even when things go wrong, I have no idea what's going on, especially when something fails. This comes to mind, some of the posts and things that our friend on the panel, Rudy, likes to put, where he's helped to, open up what that looks like for a lot of you. But ultimately, we do understand that folks really want to understand what's going on underneath the covers. Not just when things go wrong, but especially when things go wrong as well. And then finally, the user-friendly experience towards the end. I don't feel quite comfortable setting up my own device without IT. I don't quite know what to do. That's not so much for the people on this call, but for all those that you serve and their end users as well, and just helping them to feel more comfortable in these experiences. And there are a lot of things that come afterwards, but these are some of the 4 biggest pillars that we saw. And so we went back in, a lot of design, a lot of back and forth, talking to various customers, thinking through things. And there's a lot in Autopilot as it is. So the idea was to start with a scope set of features and continue to release over time, continue to work with the community to get there. And so what is Autopilot device preparation? It's a new Autopilot experience for deploying configurations efficiently, consistently, while simplifying troubleshooting and making sure we understand and help you understand what's going on behind the scenes. What's the why? That's kind of what we just walked through, right? Enabling Autopilot for our sovereign clouds, expanding that Autopilot infrastructure, and really creating a foundation that we're more confident in, building future scenarios that are more secure, which is a really big thing. I know you'll hear it on and on from Microsoft across the org. This SFI, Secure Future initiative that we're really diving into, plays into this as well in terms of all the work we're doing across the board. Ultimately, we wanted to simplify the end user experiences for admins and end users. users, making it simple, fast, repeatable, and observable. That's really what we're trying to do here. And it came out in June for all commercial and or sovereign clouds, with the caveat that we'll be building in the Total Environment for China support very soon and shortly. So that kind of concludes the prepared remarks, or not so prepared remarks. But yes, just wanted to kind of level set for everybody on the call today. I know there's some who may have seen this before in the conference that we had earlier this year and various iterations of this. But we're just really excited to at least have created this initial scope of functionality. Yes, we understand that there's a lot that you have come to expect and love from Autopilot that isn't quite in there yet. But this is the first step. This is the foundation. And we have heard you, and we continue to hear and collect feedback because we're really excited in some of the big investments that we have made when it comes to that troubleshooting, that improved consistency, and getting your devices up and running really quickly. So yeah, at this point, I'll stop and hand back over to our hosts, and looking forward to dive into things more. Thanks all.
Thank you very much, Ellie, for bringing us on the same page. So I think this is now a great start to dive into all the questions from our great community. And the first question is, of course, one that we get asked a lot about these AMA sessions. Will there be a recording? And the answer to that, this is yes, there will be a recording. We'll keep you posted. Just check out the comments from this event. And also in the community, we'll post it again. So yeah, you're good to go. And you can always check out the session afterwards also. So with that, let's jump into the first question from our community, which comes from Oli. Sorry for mispronouncing here. First question is here: what are the drive mapping options in Intune Autopilot? Not better. Why? And something simple like a label name of a drive is not possible yet. Anyone want to take this also from the community? So from our MVPs, maybe what are good solutions for this?
Well, I know that's not a built-in feature in Autopilot, and in Intune, and I'm going to assume for now that's also not going to be implemented very soon, at least if things otherwise. For now, we have some options available. You can import the ADMX file, the custom one, and with some PowerShell skips, you can label and name the drive letters if you really need them. But yeah, if we are going to go cloud native, then your data shouldn't be on a drive letter anymore and should be in OneDrive in SharePoint and not on a drive letter. But that's, I know how it goes, and you can't move your devices from hybrid to Intune native out of cloud native devices in one night. So yeah, that's my take on it.
I can add a little bit to that. So with a current customer with 90,000 seats, this is indeed something that is really troublesome when you did the migration from GPOs to Intune CSPs. There are solutions out there, Intune Drive Mapping Generator, for example, and Rudy, you have a blog as well with the ADMX. But this customer actually have a batch structure on their domain controller. So there are ways that you can enable your cloud native device to actually be able to authenticate and just use a scheduled task to kick off the drive mapping. So this is doable in a cloud native world with on-prem technology.
Great, yeah. So what if I'm a customer and the customer asks Microsoft about this question? What would be the official answer to this?
I'll be honest, I've never gotten that question as a feature for Autopilot. So I will likely say, especially since it's more in the hybrid realm, that it's probably not something that we will be adding to Autopilot specifically. We don't have that on our roadmap. We don't even have that in our backlog. So that's an interesting problem to have, and that's not one that I've seen very frequently. But you can definitely kind of take it back to the Intune team, the rest of the Intune team, and see if that's a common ask across any customers. It sounds like it is based on your responses, Rudy, Matthias, but
yeah, but it's not really an Autopilot question.
yeah.
I think I'll add that note, I'll reemphasize that note. Autopilot is the front door, if you will, to the rest of management, but yes, we will definitely take it back, but also reemphasize that cloud native push is very much front and center for us and our organization when it comes to prioritizing things and working with you to figure out how to remove some of the bumps. So
That's great to know. Yeah. Otherwise, always ask Max on Twitter, Intune Subteam. There's a question. There's an answer to everything. Okay, so Yannick, you want to take the next one from here?
Yes. The next question came also from Ole. Why 10 app list limitation was added, and is there any plan to take it off? What we should do if we have 50 to 20 to install?
Do we really want more than 10 apps?
No.
No. Question done.
I'll just provide a little bit more context. We didn't just arbitrarily pick 10 apps, right? We looked at the data and we saw that customers that saw the most success with their Autopilot deployments typically had less than 10 apps installed. So we kind of went with that to see, okay, how can we make sure that customers are successful when they are deploying Autopilot, even if they're just trying it out. We want to make sure that you have the ideal configuration that Autopilot was designed for. Autopilot was designed to be a quick, fast, easy deployment method, right? It's not designed to be an SCCM or an MDT type tool where you can just kind of load up a ton of apps. And we've seen customers doing this. And usually our answers is if you have a lot of apps, or configurations that you need to do that you want to make sure that's on the device before the user gets there, we recommend using things like pre-provisioning mode or something like that. But we can definitely discuss the 10 apps. We'll see how that goes, but we're trying to create the best end user experience that we can.
Thank you very much for that.
Great. Thank you.
And a question back maybe to that user who's gotten this question. Why would you add more than 10 apps? If you need more than 10 apps on your core distribution,
Use the company
be
portal
able to work on your device, right? Then, I haven't seen that actually. And you can create as many ADP profiles as you like, right? So you can just make profiles per persona or how you want to do this in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to echo this once more, actually, as a question about Autopilot best practices. And the first one I did right was try to keep it to less than 10 apps, because, yeah, it's good if you actually have more than 10, if they are business critical, et cetera, to actually get the user going with the device, then I do understand the question and the actual ask. But in my experience, and we're working with a lot of big enterprises as well, I haven't seen an actual need to exceed those that 10 app limit, because we need to get the user going as soon as possible and focus on the most critical and business critical apps to be provisioned during Autopilot.
Good answers here. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can still educate users to go to the company portal once the devices are removed, right? So
exactly, definitely.
Good enough. Perfect. So let's go to the next one. Will the new ESP enrollment status page in the future show more information regarding policies, what application is being installed, and so on? I know that reporting is near real time. This question comes from Jory. Any more plans to add more blades or more status information to that particular feature?
Well,
have a
can say
question
that
back
Microsoft is going to do that, but
in a way. Do you think users need more information? Yeah, especially if you're thinking about, like, right now we have the user-driven flow. Does your end user actually need to see those additional details? Will they understand or know how to interpret them? And if you can see everything in Intune, what happened on the device, which apps, policies, scripts failed, do you ever need the user to see all of these details under the covers? I can see maybe why that might be useful in like a pre-provisioning flow, for example, but do you think the user-driven flow really requires that? From our side, the way we thought about it, we want to make the experience as easy as possible, so they don't have to sit in the screen, right, and stare at it and kind of understand the entire process. They just see how long they have left and know when the device is done, right?
Okay, perfect. Anything
And
to add?
just to add a little thing to that, we do understand that, yes, when something goes wrong, then there's a lot more questions. But that's why that emphasis on improved reporting, real-time reporting, helping the right data get to those who can troubleshoot the device is the focus. But, as I said, we've started with one step, and we'll continue to get feedback from all of you in the community to see how we focus on the true end goal, which is, yes, when things go wrong, we want to be able to really see and debug, and the right people to be able to get the information that is necessary to figure out what's going on. So that's the big focus as well.
Great. All right. So Yannick, next one is you again.
Yes, the next question is, retrying devices from Autopilot often involves sending them to third-party vendors without proper deregistration. Is there any other alternative to do this? Ability to do a double check using manufacturer model serial number would have been so much easier. Also, are there any new option for device registration? Who wants to take this question?
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll take it then. Yes. Removing devices from. Sorry. Can you put the question back up?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So removing because there was multiple parts. Removing devices from Autopilot. We totally understand that that's not an ideal scenario, especially since it's a manual process. Right now, in the current iteration of Autopilot V1, we do not have an alternative to this, right? Other than making sure, like, if you're wiping the machine from Intune, then you can sort of script your EOL process. You can kind of script it in there to deregister it. Deregister it from your own tenant, but if you have to send it to a vendor, then that vendor will be the one that has to do it. The reason why a tuple check is probably not the right way to go about it is because of a motherboard swap, right? So a device can have the same manufacturer, model, and serial number, but the hardware hash could be completely different if a motherboard swap happened. So you might be removing the incorrect device using tuple if it went through a hardware change like that. So that's why we don't offer that as an option. So new options for device deregistration. I'll let Maggie talk about what we are proposing for the new Autopilot profile experience, but we're trying to take that into consideration and make it easier, because we know every time that there's a manual step, there's the potential or increased likelihood that step is going to get missed. And so we're trying to see how we can automate that as much as we can.
Great, yeah, great. Maybe also one thing here that Microsoft often mentioned is that, or to emphasize it, like Autopilot or device registration is not really a security mechanism, not a security technology. I think also this is quite important to mention. Maybe Ellie, what was the design principle, or how do we get to that statement, if I remember correctly?
I think more specifically, what we tend to say, and Juanita and Mike can add more here, is Autopilot is not an anti-theft mechanism. It's not. Yes, some customers try and use it as that way, but it's not really been intended ever as an anti-theft mechanism. It's meant to be a real convenience in getting devices enrolled and set up as fast as possible and ready for productivity. That being said, we do want to create an environment such that it is secure using the security tools that Microsoft does provide with MFA, Intune, Entra. There are various defense in depth is something that we definitely abide by and try and ensure we build security just across everything we do. That being said, Autopilot as a technology specifically, thanks for bringing that up, Nicholas. It's something that you will hear over time and repeat. It is not meant for anti-theft. So we do not prioritize and optimize for anti-theft. It is a way to get these devices onboarded, enrolled, and productive as fast as possible. That's the vision. That's the goal.
All right. Thanks for clarification. Yeah, great. Good. Any more inputs, or can we go to the next one? Then let's go to the next one here. Should we call it Windows Autopilot device preparation, or is it still okay to call it APV2? Question from Nicholas, the other one. What do you mean to that?
Yeah, well, we hear both of them, right? Device preparation and all of Rudy's blog, it's APV2.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
So which one is it? It's a question for the Microsoft panel here, of course. The official name.
Autopilot device preparation.
Okay.
We go there. So Autopilot device prep. We do understand people get their shorthands in the end, but you would that's what you'd be hearing from us in general is device prep, Autopilot device preparation, DPP. So you won't hear ESP either because it's not the device preparation page. So those are the official.
So APV2 is not a thing.
Not officially, no. But we will understand you if you say that. But officially, we are recording this, right? Officially, it is Autopilot device preparation. Yes. Autopilot device prep.
Okay.
Good. So now we know.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I know you all love Microsoft's naming.
We do, yeah.
Thing,
as hard to pronounce as possible, right? As many words as possible. Yeah.
Okay, good. Then let's jump in the next question. This was a question from the chat from Alex, and he asked if there's a registry key to see if the Autopilot's process was successful. It don't not mean finish. He means really successful.
That sounds like a Rudy question, actually.
Yeah.
No, I mean like a question that he would ask us.
I'm looking at my blogs. I think I wrote something about it. At least I should have written something about it. But there are multiple keys you can check, but it depends what you're looking for. If are you going to want the information if the device has done the device preparation mode or the regular Autopilot enrollment? Because you can, of course, Niehaus created a tool that you can determine if the device is still in OOP. If it's not in OOP, then yeah, you can be pretty sure that it's finished or it is successful. But there are registry keys that you can check if the enrollment is successful. I will look them up and I will post them in the chat so everyone can enjoy them.
And one thing I'll add here is that
Rudy.
we typically don't release public information about that type of detail. When we're not releasing our full backend designs. I would be curious to understand why you need to check that information via registry key. Note that if you're not seeing this on your screen, like required setup is complete, if you don't get that message, but you think the process might have completed, then reach out, open a support ticket. That shouldn't be happening. Like you shouldn't have to check registry keys. We're trying to make this easier, not harder for you. So you should have a clear indication the process completed. You should see it in reporting as well. When that happens, you ideally shouldn't have to check the registry keys. If there's any concerns, feel free to reach out.
I think the reason that many customers are asked for that, to Maggie's point, she's right. We don't typically release our registry values. We waffled on that sometimes internally on whether we should. But I think the reason that most customers want that is because they want other processes to kick off after but they want to be, they don't want to interfere with the DPP page. They don't want to interfere with the autopilot process. So they want to know when it's done so that they can begin other processes. So I get the need to understand, but I would, defer to Rudy's blog on like specifically what process you're looking at to make sure that it's completed, to know when you need to run your items. But I don't think we're going to be able to release that at this time.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
It is actually very, very useful to have something that can check up on this. Right now, we have a lot of users that needs to go through a transition phase from Windows 10 to transitioning to Windows 11 remotely. And with that process, we will utilize Config Manager to kick off a task sequence, upgrade the device to Windows 11, reset it, and make sure that their device hash is uploaded to Autopilot before that. And then we want to measure speed. So we want to measure how long did it take for the task sequence to actually complete. And after that, because it's a broken up feature or two systems that are actually onboarding the device, we also want to measure speed on Autopilots. And right now, there's already a monitor report on Autopilot version 1. And yeah, it doesn't work really well, so to speak. So we decided to make our own reports. So there are indeed keys that would be nice to actually bring in either to Intune as a tool, or even to Log Analytics and build your own workbooks to measure these kind of things.
Thank you. Someone want to add something to this?
We
or
do
should
feedback
jump
though,
to
so
the
we
next
do
question?
hear. No, I was just saying it's really good feedback. We'll definitely take it back and consider, because ongoing, but aligned with the last responses from Juanita at time. We'll see what the future holds, but we also have to, as part of the company, we do tend to align with the general principles of what we do release versus not.
All right, then let's go to the next one. With AP Autopilot version 1, I can make sure the company devices are lost or stolen can be secured, but with AP2, lost devices can be wiped and configured as personal, even if their serial number is added to corporate identifiers. The question comes from Yasser.
So I'll take the last part of that.
This effectively fits in more with that overview that Nicholas brought up in terms of Autopilot in and of itself is not a technology that is built for theft, if you will, and you taking a device and using it a different way, and it's to be theft. So it's not technology that is built for anti-theft. We're not prioritizing that in a focused way. We do understand that there are benefits that kind of do come from the way registration is done today or has been done previously over the years. But there are also a lot of issues and a lot of things that we're trying to solve that occur today as a result of the way that technology is built. And Maggie and Rita are really diving into what that future looks like, which is, it won't be a focus of this discussion today, but we do understand some of these implications. So if you wanted to add a bit more to the last bit, so I'll let that. I'll stop there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say for the last bit, if you're using corporate identifiers, it should not be configured as personal. So that's something that we definitely want to look to make sure that that's not happening.
So the way I understood it here, I might be wrong, but I think they're saying the device can be removed from management and then used as a personal. So we're not preventing it from being used as a personal device. And our goal is kind of the opposite, like more trying to prevent like users from getting access to your environment when they shouldn't have it, or in ways that they shouldn't have it. rather than the opposite, like them getting rid of management and using the device as a personal device. Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Then let's get to the next one.
So could I just chip in
Yes.
just real quick, please? So you could actually use AP. So device preparation, is kind of makes it really easy for basically anyone to onboard the device, right? But then you could actually make it an autopilot, the first one device to once it's actually been enrolled. So if this is really important to you, you could actually onboard it as an autopilot device as well afterwards. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So the device preparation would just be kind of to do the first enrollment and so on, and then you could convert it into an autopilot device if you want to, of course. So that's still an option, right? Yep.
Good input. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is an interesting question. I'm interesting for the answers. The question came from Michael, and he asked what would cause apps to randomly fail during autopilot?
That's a loaded question.
There are a lot of replies and answers on that question.
From the autopilot side, I'd say that the top two things that we see for apps that are failing is the incorrect detection logic is being is there, and that's something that the admin controls. It's not something we can control, and also a dependent app was not properly targeted. I think that's the top two things that we see when applications fail during autopilot.
Did someone had something to add, Rudi?
Yeah, I will add a managed installer to it because I've seen a lot of weird stuff happening when you only enable the managed installer, not using WDAG or something like that, but only enabling the managed installer did a lot of weird stuff on my devices with applications. So yeah.
Are you referring to the existing autopilot flows or autopilot device prep?
Device prep.
Yeah.
But that was in
device prep does not support managed installer right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, if any apps that require it, those will fail. But I think we took the question to be also generally for autopilot, which is why Juanita was saying it's a very loaded question because it could be so many things.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I want to add to this as well. Building apps my whole life, you want to build robust applications, so you really need to check that the actually works. MSI is usually good format, but make sure you upload it as a Win32 application and not mix and match your line of business. It's going to be better in ADP, but make sure that you use one standard, one format for this. And I assure you, if you do this properly, you won't have any issues with your apps during autopilot.
Yeah, and my response goes for both autopilot types. I know for me, when I'm rushing to a deployment and trying to do stuff, whenever I see an app fail, it's usually because I forgot to target it properly to my device group, or I didn't set the logic correctly. So, I mean, maybe that's a me problem, but I think others might be doing that as well.
I mean, this question is loaded.
Yeah, and always try it out when it's installed, in device context as well. That's a really important step. I know that Florian Salzman has a good solution to try it out. So definitely do that as well before pushing it through Intune, installing it during the autopilot.
Okay, thanks for that broad feedback here. So next one is from Raphael. Is there a way to automate device extension attributes during autopilot deployment? So I think he means to give any extension attributes during the autopilot process here, or maybe also generally after it went through those processes? Any good community solutions, or what would Microsoft say to this?
None that comes to mind.
I think the problem with that one is always a bit like the device needs to fetch that particular information from the remediation script or whatever that would like to extract some information from some artifact from the device and upload it then somehow to the Entra-ID object. Of course, we have managed identity here, but I think in generally there's no easy way to add extension attributes. I just know that also Florian Salzmann built a solution, and I also think Yannick, you were involved with that one to fill up the nodes from the Intune object, right? But not the extension attributes, because extension attributes is more like an Entra-ID identity topic and less an Intune topic. But maybe Yannick, can you quickly explain that solution again? Maybe that helps, Raphael.
Yeah, in the end, what we built was a simple solution where you can add device inventory in the description field. It's a workaround to give more context to the devices, but it's not the 100% answer to this question, but it helps to collect things from the device and add this in the description column where you can add free text that you can work further with it.
Okay, yeah. Maybe also need to differentiate here a bit because, like I said, I think this is more of an Entra-ID topic, and I think that's another org within Microsoft that does those things. But maybe we can see something about this in the future. Okay. Is there anything to add here? Then Yannick, next one is again yours.
Yes, the next question is if still Shift F10 is possible. He said it's stupid that he did not try it out by his own, but maybe someone can give him an answer.
Yes.
It's not an Autopilot thing again. But yeah, you can just still press Shift F10. So yes.
Yeah. Maybe I want to add something here as a bonus question, because I always ask myself that. But if I would be employed by another company and I get an autopilot device and I'm within UBI, right? If I elevate myself before that setup with Shift F10 and add myself a local admin account, that's kind of a loophole, right? What do you see against this, or maybe how do you?
You would have a local group policy applying that would replace that, or MDE to shout at you and say that this user is not compliant in regards to company policy.
Yeah. Okay. Any more solutions? How you handle this?
Yeah, and also monitor this, right? We need to monitor this so we could educate the user who actually did this in some way. Like, hey, end user, what's going on? Please don't do this, because otherwise this user will just keep trying, right? And we see this quite a lot in bigger enterprises where you know they Google stuff, they learn how to do some simple tricks or hacks, and then they try it out. So by monitoring this stuff, it actually helps in educating why they don't need to be added as an admin, and what they could do instead in terms of asking for solutions, basically. So doing the monitoring part is really important in this regard, and we always set it up initially during our projects.
Great. All right, then let's get to the next one. Next question is from Hassan. He asks, when will we be able to pre-provision devices using the new Autopilot v2? So with device prep.
That sounds
We
like
don't
Microsoft's
have a
question.
date. Yeah, we don't have a date yet for it, but it is something that we're actively designing right now. And we're getting feedback. If you are a part of our CCP channels, I do have a poll out right now asking for those customers that are using pre-provisioning, self-deploying modes to kind of go over the design to make sure we're designing it in the right way. There are a few things that we sort of have to change. So I would love to gather customer feedback on that. So if you are a part of those communities, please sign up, and we'll give you some additional insight on what we're working on.
Okay, great.
Okay, the next question came from Erdit. This is a very open question, and I think we can fill a complete session with it. But what are the best practices when you use Autopilot?
Don't add 100 required apps to it.
I don't think it has a task sequence. It's not.
Yeah.
And also in terms of, you will probably, when you actually do this the right way in terms of Autopilot, you will probably involve your OEM as well. And don't give them the Intune admin role. There are some granular RBAC roles that you could use in terms of giving them the absolute just enough permissions in terms of doing what they need, right? So I've seen OEMs getting the Intune administrator role one too many times. So that's probably my biggest and best practice right on the spot.
Okay,
Good.
something from Microsoft to add here?
I would say best practices for, and this goes for both versions of Autopilot, is make sure you're not applying things just because you applied them in the past, right? Through config-man or MDT, just kind of rethink everything that you've had there. Educate your users. We try to make it as intuitive as possible, but user education goes a long way, especially if you know how long your flow takes. Like, oh, this flow typically takes 20 minutes. If your user knows that, they won't sit there for 2 hours wondering, what's happening. So trying to set user expectations on that will just make it an easier experience for everyone. Limit the apps to the core apps that you need for the setup to get the user going. Some users are more savvy than others, so some users will just use the web versions of apps if they need it, and just kind of wait for more things to come down. I'd also just add that I know we don't have a great device lifecycle experience for Autopilot. Mostly we just think about the onboarding, but I'd also encourage customers to come up with a defined end-of-life lifecycle that includes cleaning up those devices as well. As we tackle that problem, we don't know when you're getting rid of these devices, right? So we also need you to make sure that is a part of your EOL process, and that you educate your technicians on that as well. So that would be my AP best practices.
Yeah. And just to add to that, educate your first and second line help desk as well, because we have been doing imaging with SCCM, MDT, and whatnot for a really long time. So initially, when we start using Autopilot, it's really important to when we implement it in the project. So early on, we need to remember to keep those in the loop as well. To be successful.
Great, yeah. Then let's take next one. From Ashish, how do you manage update of drivers for HP devices enrolled by the Autopilot process? Maybe we can also transform this more into a driver question during Autopilot. How do you handle that, or what is the statement to this?
Okay, I'll take that one then. So we do not have driver updates available right now. The only update that we're working to add to Autopilot is quality updates for now. Driver updates that might come along a bit later. That's things that we need to think about, because with the driver updates, we can't, once you open it up to all drivers, you're going to get all drivers, right? And sometimes drivers can impact Autopilot during the deployment. So we need to be very strategic about when those updates happen and how it happens. If there is a driver that you do need to have on the device, then you can kind of target it as an app if it's required. But please just try to make sure it's not like a networking driver or something that could like really impact the rest of the experience. So that you're looking it to the desktop. But that's if you have to have something on the device before they get to the desktop. If not, I'd recommend having those updates occur after the user's at the desktop.
Good. Anything more to add here? If not, then let's get to the next question.
Yes, the next question is from Neil. He asked, do you have a script to remove retired devices via Intune? Maybe we should not talk about the script. Maybe we can talk about best practices. How maybe Niklas, Matthias, how do you deal with such lifecycle stuff?
Yeah, it's always a pain, but having some built-in tooling in-house would definitely help you if we're talking retirement of Autopilot devices. So first of all, you need to remove it from Intune and then Autopilot, and then from Entra. If you're hybrids, you even have to remove it from local AD. And lastly, if you are co-managed, one more place, you can also have a flow that needs to remove that device from that. So the obvious answer here is that you need to create an internal process. Either you can do it manually. I don't like manual, so you need to have some service principle where you have a front end, ServiceNow, whatever tool you have, and build that workflow for you.
Yeah.
Okay, did someone have something to add here?
No,
Okay,
automation
you,
is
Matthias,
definitely key here.
Anything more to add? Sorry, or
No, I just chipped in. Automation is really key in terms of doing this, because there is no easy solution. Doing this manually, there are a lot of places to remove the device from, a lot of different systems. So doing an inventory of all the systems and then just creating an automation based upon that is what I like to do.
Right, yeah. I also think the easy answer to this one would be just set up device cleanup rules in Intune. That's step number one, easy win. But yeah, we also have the device in Entra. Maybe this will at some day get a stale device. There is an official script to get rid of stale devices. And for Autopilot hash or Autopilot identities, there are also good community scripts around to delete those devices. Maybe you want to have a look at things. But the rest, yeah, I also agree with that. Automation and the processes are really key, because yeah, you maybe also have other systems than not just Microsoft systems, asset management or so, to delete those devices. And you should have a defined process for that. Good, yeah. Next question from Alex. Why not adding a switch allowing hash registered devices using V2? What's the reason for that? Or is that even something considerable?
If I understand correctly, this question is asking why do you not want to allow registered devices to also leverage device prep. If that's the case, there are reasons, there are limitations around registration that we're trying to address actually with device prep. We are acknowledging that customers have a need to know the device identity in advance and use that for different pre-enrollment policies. We have been hearing things like, oh, when is company branding coming? When is rename, UBI customization coming? How can we achieve those with device prep? This is something we are actively working on. We are working on an alternative concept to establish kind of a connection of a device to the tenant, association of the device to the tenant. We don't have many details to share yet, but we will be using that other concept. That's the key thing, is that in place of registration for outbound device prep. And we're looking into ways we can make it better. We can simplify things like the issues you had with deregistration today, for example. We're trying to see how can we make this better with our new architecture, with our new feature as well. So that is really the primary reason here. We also wanted to make sure that customers who are using their current registered flows can continue to use them without any issues. We didn't want to disrupt you and have you accommodate immediately that new flavor about the device preparation profile. So that's why I wanted to kind of keep the separation there as well.
Thanks for giving some insights here. So Yannick, next one is yours. How many do we still do? 1 or 2?
I think we have 3 minutes left. Let's see if we can handle 1 or 2 additional questions. But the next question we got is from Yasser. He asked, does ESP get ignored when using Autopilot v2?
That's a pretty quick one, I think. Yes, it does. If you do see ESP, then you're not actually going through device prep. Like, you maybe didn't set up something properly, so go check the setup. We're having a different flow that we think gives different benefits. It's an entirely different setup experience.
Great. So we then can do one more. The last one for today. That's a good one to sum up from Yudish Tar. What are the key features in APv2?
No hash.
That's just go with this.
Quicker reporting.
So I can say also a couple of the key benefits that you are not getting with your existing outbound experience. So yeah, the quicker reporting, more accurate reporting as well, with more details in there. The availability for sovereign clouds. If any of you are dealing with this, you know that has been a gap for a long time now. And then the other benefit is we have a bit more controlled delivery of the configurations. So you can actually now mix LOB and Win32 with NetApps if you'd like. We're making sure things come in like batches in a specific way, and that provides a more consistent experience for the users and fewer errors.
Rudy, what is your key feature or your highlight with APv2?
My highlights, in my opinion, the whole device preparation experience is way better than with Autopilot, Windows Autopilot, correct me. So Autopilot device preparation doesn't require the hardware hash, which is, in my opinion, one of the biggest improvements. You are not stuck with that weird device fix is pending, or when the motherboard gets replaced, you will end up with issues. So yeah, that, and of course what Nicholas also mentioned, the reporting is way better and way faster, and also the whole mechanism behind device preparation, how the bootstrapper kicks in, how it communicates with servers. Yeah, in my opinion, it's not even Autopilot anymore. It's just device preparation. And
we get rid of the dynamic groups, right? So we don't have an SLA on 24 hours. We have enrollment time grouping.
But that's not really. That's not really dedicated to Autopilot, but yeah, it's a big improvement.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, good. With this, I think we are very good in time. We are 6 o'clock. And with this, we also will close the session for today. But I have to say many thanks for everyone who submitted questions. We got really a lot. And unfortunately, we were not able to answer all your questions. But I think we can also follow up in the chat. And I also have to say many thanks to all our experts who joined today. Thanks for all answering all these questions. And I think it was fun to be part of this session today. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
And have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Try it out. Please try it out and give us feedback. We'll love to communicate with you all.